Hey friends, welcome to Floyd County Emergency Management. My name is Chris Fincher. Today I'm talking to some of our partners from GEMA, Georgia Emergency Management. I have with us Greg and Savannah. If you would introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do every day at GEMA.
Well, thank you for having us. I'm Greg Smith. I am currently the Operations Communications Manager, and that title comes with the duties of what's called the Statewide Interoperability Coordinator, or the SWIC, as well as the Emergency Support Function ESF2 lead for communications. We deal with everything that our agency has in deployments around the state, as well as our own support of our people when they are in the field, whether it be tactical networks or radios or cellular-based devices. It falls to us, and we take care of that. Other than our direct agency, we go out in support of interoperability among the counties so that they can be, able to talk to other agencies when they are pulled into an incident and need to work as a cohesive unit.
Great. Thank you, Greg. Savannah?
As part of the communications unit, the ESF2, I handle the device management for our agency as well as our strategic technology reserve, our cache of devices. My title is State Warning Officer, so I specialize in various types of alerts for the public. Anything from a Levi's call, civil alert, missing person, up to a nuclear power plant emergency.
So Amber Alerts and that sort of thing? Okay.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So, and actually alerts are why we're here to talk today. There is an alert coming up in October, on October 4th, that a lot of you are going to see. So we're here to talk about the purpose of those, a little bit about the history, and what exactly you can expect. But more importantly, we wanted to let you know that on the day of that test, you're going to get a lot of information that's going to let you know that there's not anything going on. So let's talk about this alert first. What's it going to look like whenever somebody sees it? So if you've got your TV off, if you may be asleep or something like that, and it's going to come across as a different type of tone and a different type of alert, right? What's that going to look like?
Right. So the test is going to be delivered in two methods. It'll be an EAS, an emergency alert system, which that's the one you spoke of coming across your TV or radio. If you are asleep and you have a cell phone, it could be delivered as a wireless emergency alert, a WIA message that's specific to your cell phone. And it does have a distinctive alert, audible alert, and a different vibration pattern alert as well.
Right.
So that you know it's something more serious than a regular text.
It's not a text message. It's not something from ESPN. This is going to be something very specific to, we want your attention.
Right.
So why do we do this? What's the important? You've talked about Amber Alerts, Levi's call. What's the purpose of the government, especially more locally to Floyd County and even the state of Georgia? Why do we do things like this?
To make sure in the moment that it's going to work correctly. If we do a test alert to ensure that if a nationwide alert needs to be delivered, that it goes as smoothly as it can.
And this is required every 3 years, is that correct?
Every 3 years.
So the last one was done, what's my math on that?
I think it was actually done in 21.
Okay.
So they're a little early.
Okay.
Want to make sure it works. So.
But in emergency management, the more we exercise something, the more we use it, the better we off we are, because we know that things are working properly, right?
Correct. We know it works, and we can address any technological updates that need to be completed or address any other issues that arise from the test itself.
So real time and real world, what are some examples of ways that we have used the emergency alert system, aside from testing? What are some ways that you can think of just in recent history?
Like you mentioned, the most popular is an Amber Alert, Maddie's call.
Yep.
The state of Georgia refers to an Amber Alert as a Levi's call, so you may have seen that verbiage as well. Most recently, with the Hurricane Idalia, the National Weather Service issues the alerts pertaining to weather.
Right.
To let you know what's happening. We did issue a few alerts for those southern counties in the state, advising their residents that were in mobile homes to seek a more substantial structure
Right.
ahead of the hurricane to to ensure their safety.
Now, would this type of system be something where if we had contamination of a waterway, if we had a boil alert, would something like that come across this system, or would something else be utilized in that case?
It could be. A lot of counties have used this system. A county themselves can apply to be an alerting authority and get their own, it's called a COG, or a collaborative operating group. And so the county themselves can issue their alerts that are related to anything that's within their borders, whether it be a boil water alert or a heat advisory, whatever they felt was a justifiable means that they felt that they needed to alert their public for. One of the mechanisms that we use probably the most often, we have a partnership with Georgia DOT, and Georgia DOT has a service where when they have an incident out on the interstate or highway system, and it's going to be more than a 3-hour delay, and they have a road closure, they have a system that is tied to our agency being the one that holds the COG and does the alerting. We partner with them, and they partner with us to, hey, we're going to produce this alert. We've got a road closure on I-16. There's been a bridge struck, and, we've got to get down there and survey that, so the interstate's going to be closed. They will paint the highway, so to speak, with a polygon, and Savannah and I approve those as well. So those are probably one of the most used areas right now that we do alerts for.
So to explain what the public, when we're talking about that, I've got some experience with having to draw polygons. If you want to look at Google Maps and you've got an area, what you'll do is you can either draw a circle or you can draw specific points and draw an area. And it can be an odd-shaped area or anything like that,
Exactly.
And anybody within that area will get an alert.
Right. In the polygon drawing, they use exactly a map, and say for a large, multi-cloverleaf intersection, they can, draw that in. So it just helps them define the area that needs to be an alert. Then whoever is on the road, if they drive into this zone, their phone is then alerted with the normal, WIA alert. They have the message there. The message also usually contains the Georgia GA 511 site for them to go and gather more information. And part of that system is interactive once they go to that particular website.
So that's the interesting thing about emergency alerts. You don't have to have a subscription to any one system of alerting. How does the system know where you're at and is able to send out those alerts to you specifically? If something is happening in Rome, how would it know that you're in that area?
So we have, with all the smartphone technology we have now, the term would be geolocating. And so your phone knows what tower it's connected to. And so the message itself is sent to all the towers. And it can pretty much tell now with some of the most newer, smartphones, where you're located and if that GPS coordinates is inside that polygon map to set off the alert.
It's not so much a subscription. It comes standard with most new devices. The alert notification option. You do have the option to opt out of it. However, we don't recommend that. You can, depending on what type of device you have. For example, Apple will let you activate alerts, Amber Alerts, test alerts, and you can toggle those on or off. Again, we don't recommend that because you'd rather be notified than not when it depends on you or your family's safety. So,
and one of the things about the alerting platform, so there's roughly a half a dozen vendors that agencies can use to be their alerting platform. The network is owned by FEMA. The IPAWS, the Integrated Public Alert Warning System network, is developed and owned by the federal government. But as an alerting authority, as a county or city, usually a county, cities don't typically get alerting authority. They work out an MOU with their county. But if those software packages come with the ability to have subscriptions, so there's a subscription side of the software where Code Red or
HyperReach or Rave.
HyperReach, whatever it is. Typically, that's been around for a while, and then a county applies for a IPAWS cog to do alerting. They can send alerts and push that alert to the device without the subscription. So I kind of wanted to make sure we clarify the definition of if you have a college student who is, you know, from up here in Northwest Georgia, and they may be at the Coastal College in Brunswick, if they are subscribed to local events through, you know, Everbridge, and they're downrange, they will get those alerts because that is subscription based. But if you send off an IPAWS WIA alert, so for an event here in Floyd County, they will not get that being downrange at college out of that.
And I think that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
If they're from here, but they're in, if they're on the coast and a hurricane comes in, you can rest assured that they're going to get that alert, and it's not going to be referencing Floyd County somehow.
Exactly. Speaking of that reference, Hurricane Dorian, 4 years ago, she was spinning off the coast there, and we did use, that was actually my first ever alert, was to alert the coastal counties of an evacuation that we thought she was going to make landfall.
So this emergency alert is going to be on October the 4th. 2023 at 2:20. Is there going to be, what's the backup date? If something's going on October the 4th, is there a backup date?
It's October 11th. The duration of it will last for 30 minutes. So if you don't receive an alert right at 2:20 p.m., you could still potentially receive it for the next 30 minutes.
I would imagine it takes a while to send out all those alerts. Is that the reason for the lag?
The delay is actually if you're, for example, if you were driving down the road and you hit a dead spot where you don't have coverage, whenever you come back into the coverage area, the message will be pushed through
That's
at
good.
that time.
Yep.
So it could be from anywhere from 2:20 for 30 minutes.
Right. So how do we know if the test has been successful?
You'll receive, like we said, the distinctive audible tone and the vibration pattern, and it will come up on your screen and it's going to say test to make sure that you're aware that it's no actions needed. They're just testing it to make sure it goes through. Beyond that, receiving it and reading it, that's all you got to do.
Of course, the big success of it is, you know, being that the IPAWS network is FEMA owned and based, because it goes through multiple carriers nationwide. You know, they'll be using this to test those the functionality of that. A lot of technology when it comes to smartphones, used to the technology of smartphones lived at the tower site. And when the transition of smartphones really picked up, the knowledge was pushed into the phone itself. And so
let's talk a little bit about that. Based on some study of the Boston Marathon, the bombing that happened there, I remember that they pushed out some alerts that also included some pictures of the suspects and just information about that. Would that have gone through a system like this emergency alert system?
Most definitely.
Okay.
We do have the ability to attach photos. You can also include URLs to other websites if that's part of what you want your public to be aware of. You can send them there. One of the things that is in the works for IPAWS that we have seen is they're adding an extended description field. Smartphones have the ability to get more than the 360, character limit, and so that's where you can add additional information, and that's something that they are working on at the moment to expand, what can be said in a text. It's still text related, but you can push photos and URLs, so more to come.
The expansion is specific to Apple devices. It will be included in their iOS 17 update, which should be happening in the next couple months. They were hoping to get it implemented before the test alert goes out. Something that you do need to be aware of, that I don't know how they're going to publicize it. To get the extra information when the alert comes up on your phone, you have to tap it. And if you tap it, it will open the additional information.
That's kind of the point of our publicity campaign here, is just to talk about the system and let you know and let you be aware. You're going to get that message that says this is a test. There's no need for alarm. It's I've found just in my roles of getting the messages out to people, not everybody has social media, not everybody looks at the news. So having something like this in place is very important for getting in touch with people, especially folks that live in poverty, maybe your senior citizen groups or folks that just they kind of want to disconnect. But we still need to be able to get to them and say, look, there's something coming, you need to be aware.
Also keep in mind that you have to have your alerts activated on your device. If you haven't opted out of them, you should be fine. You can, like I mentioned, they have different alerts you can approve on an Apple device. Test alert has its own category. So it's in your settings under general. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see the government alerts, and you can see the 4 categories. You just want to make sure your test alert is toggled on, so it's green.
We've gone over a lot here. Okay, so I wanted to remind you, October the 4th at 2:20 is going to be that alert. If there's something going on, like a storm or whatever, that test will be pushed out to October the 11th, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Something else to keep in mind is we don't want to over-notify people of things, but I personally would rather be over-notified than not at all. So while the audible alert, the text vibration might be a little bit startling, you definitely want to participate in it so that we can improve the alerts down the road. For example, the last alert, they realized the need for various languages to be included.
Oh, yeah.
So what came from that was now you have a Spanish option to send out EAS and WE alerts in Spanish if the agency, the alerting authority has the capability in their software to do that. And, of course, someone who can speak Spanish to put it in.
Yep.
So anyone that has their phone language set to Spanish would receive it in Spanish.
That's great.
Instead of English. They are currently working on, with the FCC, to provide lots more languages. But, of course, that takes time to put in place.
Right. Yep. We're becoming a small world.
Very connected.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. We hope that you found this informative, and we'll hope that you check out some other videos that we have here from Emergency Management. Have a good day.